sensation of aliveness, sensation of the light streaming, 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 motion, motion, motion. So effortlessly fluid, so beautifully one, streaming.
Ecstatic flow. Ecstatic expanse. No meaning attached. No mind grasping at all. Just being, feeling, vastness wide, in microscopic infinity.
Pooh and Piglet are walking down the road, and Piglet says to Pooh, "How do you spell love?" And Pooh laughs and says, "You don't spell it, Piglet. You feel it."
This idea to create a community where we explore embodied oneness has been planted in my being many years ago, and I was always up for creative explorations as a visual and performing artist, and especially exploring creativity as a form of self-inquiry into who we are.
What's the difference between when we say my heart and my, when we feel the heart center and the expansiveness of the heart center, and the one heart when it's universal? What is the difference, and how do you perceive the difference?
My feeling is that the personal heart or the soul heart has a sense of location, while the universal heart is, or the one heart as we speak of, is non-local. That's kind of my sense when I sense into it now.
I had this beautiful opening into that reality of non-separation in a really sudden, unexpected way. It wasn't a deep meditation. It wasn't a particular practice that brought me there. When I was at home in my kitchen, suddenly my perception of reality completely changed to something I would call no point of view, or everything at once, or everything in between the lines, or everything alive, as live, pervading everything.
When I start feeling that universal, spacious heart, my heart just disintegrates into one heart, and they're indistinguishable.
There's a sense of flow. Somehow, it's a bit beyond words. It's quite magical. There's a sense of an opening with a flow. The Aborigines call it the Ali and the Alt, and they say, the human form is perforated, the human body is perforated, and the Ali, which is the force of life, flows through us, and it manifests in any moment, any now moment, as the Alt. So what we feel as singular, as the personal quality, is always present, and the quality of the oneness, as long as we keep our heart open and don't build walls around it, is also present.
Lovely. That's beautiful. I mean, I felt like every single one of you brought different aspects of the same, of what I experienced. Like I can relate to Vizi's non-locality and the locality, but I can also totally relate to Peggy's saying that it's the same, you know, that it just has a different, that in the body, the heart has a different quality when it turns into the universal, when it manifests the universal energy of it and not the personal. I totally relate to that as well. Seems to be both true, like the non-locality and it's non-local and local. Yeah, now you go. Not locally local. But it seems like through the body, in my experience with the body, it definitely comes to the heart.
And I experience it exactly the same way physically, and then there's this radiates in all directions, and if I stay there long enough, it becomes just a field, a directionless field.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like I can't get big enough to for physically encompassing it, but I can just feel I'm yeah, like I can just hug everything.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
All of what is as one, or just this amazing, wow, there is no mask, there's no familiarity, and there's no relatedness. There's just this juicy intimacy as one, without being able to comprehend anything, without taking away from the understanding that life is a total mystery. We ended exactly together. Like everyone ended in the same moment without any instruction. And suddenly there was just this. This depth. I had this idea to get some creative people together. They look, let's just do this. Let's just invoke that reality of non-separation, and let's just see what happens. No plan, no rehearsal, no anything. Just take something that moves you to express that. And some people brought instruments, some people brought text that really connected them with that reality of everything being one. And so we just sat there. And every now and then someone would do something. And then someone else would suddenly feel moved to respond. And then something else would come in, and then there was suddenly silence. And then it was suddenly someone just gently sounding a singing bowl in that way that it felt perfect beyond what you can imagine. I remember stumbling out of this room where this happened, where this co-creation happened, and I was so filled with that sense that there was literally one person playing all of us. And that led to a sense of perfection, creative perfection, that was beyond anything I could ever come up with as an individual artist, no matter how amazing my work would be.
Motion of the light, effortless motion of the light, pure energy, motion, awake, awareness, weaving consciousness.
That's where love comes from. That's where love is. That's where love is made. That's where love is alive. That's where you are love, as love, in love, just love.
Beautiful tapestry woven. Collectively gathered. Beautifully sewn. Created with abundance. To feel the almighty power of one and regenerate into a new evolution and feel the cosmic power of one. Feel at peace. Know to let go and know how to allow in the new. Find peace within a journey, your journey.
So I felt the power of community in this ultimate sense, of embodying no separation so strongly. And that was the seed. And then I spent many, many years exploring embodiment as non-separation on my own, figuring out how to find people that are interested in exploring it with me. I went through so much around this for many, many years, but this first resonance with that possibility never left me. It was always like it was edged into my heart as this, wow, this is what is possible. This is what is possible. And who knows about this? Does anyone know about this? Can we explore this more deeply? Can we go there? Can we co-create peace, love, unity, beauty, understanding, grieving in a beautiful way, expressing anger and sadness and despair in a co-creative, holding space, wonderful way? Can we be human together in ways we could have never imagined?
Seeing so clearly how a distorted relationship with memory and history creates so much havoc. Distorted relationship with history.
Feeling what Wazir just brought in with the distorted relationship to history, it's really interesting because that brings me into this whole pot of collective trauma and the understanding of that and what it I've just read this amazing quote. I can't remember it's word by word, but it rang so true. It's like there's no one you couldn't love if you knew their story. You know, which I found really touching, because it's so like everyone, you know, there's so much cruelty and horror that happens from trauma or from a belief in something that doesn't exist. And I wonder, Wizzy, how do you bring, if you look at that history, if you look at the totality of the history of humanity and all its distortion, all its cruelty, all its madness, all its exploitation, all its abuse, all its murdering, all its wars, if you look all of that, how do you bring a non-distorted view to that, a healing view to that? I just got inspired to ask that question from what you shared. or anyone, if anyone wants to speak about that.
I
speak to
just
that.
saw a
Others-
kaleidoscope. I just saw a kaleidoscope, and how when you move the kaleidoscope, it just changes the whole perspective.
Mm.
How does a mother bring a child into the world and then nurture that child?
Mm.
I was tracking every story in my experiential perception tracks back to love, which is not a backward motion, but it just love, and when love gets distorted and then morphs into fear.
Mm.
There's a lovely quote from the positive psychology movement, which is, what would love say and do if love was in the room?
Mm. So that is the exploration. That was the exploration. And this is how this mighty network evolved over time, by exploring with people locally, by eventually exploring with people on Zoom, and then feeling, yes, we could have this online platform that connects everyone. So if you are requesting to join, I will get in touch with you, and we will consider if you want a conversation with me first, or if you want to just meet the group in an introductory session, or whatever feels right in that respect, and then you're welcome to come along if it feels right. So let me know if there's any more questions. You can contact me on the contact page of evamalawa.com. And you can just request joining in the Mighty Network directly. Thank you so much, and loads of love to you. Take care.